All right, you are looking live. Ladies and gentlemen, time to focus. Learn your history because those who don't remember the past are destined condemned to repeat it. And it really has been interesting to be studying the beginnings of World War II at this time when we see what's happening with, Russia and Ukraine. It seems like it's kind of an insignificant thing. And I've been telling you not to worry because it's not going to be the same, even though I'm a student of history and I'm like, wow, these are interesting parallels. But hey, don't worry because, everybody else is a student of history too, right? And we're not this stupid. We're not going to let this happen again. So right now, yesterday we were talking about the debate between what's the definition of invasion, right? Because they crossed the border, but they were saying we're only doing this as a peacekeeping thing in one section of Ukraine. And then probably after you went to bed last night, because it was later in the evening, as I'm getting ready to call it a night, the news comes on and we see bombings taking place. And we start hearing about Russian bombers getting shot out of the sky. So now throughout today, the discussion went from, hey, is this really an invasion or a minor incursion? And now we can't really say that it's just a minor incursion. It's not for whom? You're going to need one if you tell me. We can't really say that it's not an invasion anymore. So they were really that crazy. All right. Can you read fast?
Yeah.
Serenity, you are with your photographic memory, you are taking snapshots. Ready? Are you ready? Got all that? Come on. Take a snapshot in your brain there, Harvey. How are you going to know where that, when you got the test and you're trying to think of the answer, how are you going to remember that it says it right here on the notes? Unless you take that photograph right now. Go ahead. Good. Now, how about that one? Come on, Bella.
I'm taking a picture.
David, you better be doing it.
I'm doing
As
it.
lousy as your notes are.
What do you mean? Like, they're amazing.
Yeah.
You got him.
You get that? Everything you ever wanted to know about Benito Mussolini, and less. Mussolini had the what color shirts?
Black.
Hitler had the Toad Joe. Why was he so powerful? Well, they thought Hirohito was God. He was like
He was the protector.
Yeah, and he was the leader of the military. He wasn't just a political leader.
Yeah.
Then you got the Man of Steel. And then you have what was happening, what was interesting over the last week when we watched what's happening with Russia and their minor encroachments. There's the man we're going to talk more about today. What's this guy's name? Winston Churchill. Serenity. 20 years from now, someone's taught you're listening to someone and somehow the subject of World War II comes up and they mention England. Immediately you're going to think of who? Atta girl. He is that great a figure in history. It seems like I'm exaggerating him, but I'm not. We are finding out in real time the difference in strong leadership or not? I mean, this could all be coincidence. But in 2014, Putin sent his troops into the area called Crimea, the southern end of Ukraine that goes into the Black Sea there. Someone wasn't president in 2014. So from that time through 2021, that period of time was dominated by another president. And now we've got a new president, and Putin feels emboldened to go and take all of Ukraine now. Could all be coincidence. It could just be coincidence that he did it when Obama was president, didn't do it when Trump was president, and is doing it when Biden. Could all be coincidence. I don't know. Or it could have something to do with how he views the leadership in America. So Churchill's leadership was the difference. Battle of Britain, first German defeat. How far did we get? To the video, right? Yeah? Oh, we watched the video. We watched Battle of Britain video. It was narrated. Did they get that picture, by the way, from like Call of Duty or something? That guy laying on the-
No, it's from Dunkirk.
Yeah, that's from Dunkirk.
Well, we didn't watch this video, did we? All right, so
Wait, not this week.
I promise this is the last. We already watched the speech.
Yeah, we watched
Yeah. This is the last Churchill thing for a while, but the guy is that important, so 5 minutes of Churchillian wisdom.
Derek, stop talking.
Pay attention. I'll stop it once in a while and get your thoughts.
You already heard the speech.
Everyone was rich and healthy, and only a few were lucky.
Where'd you hear that? You heard that quote before?
Didn't we already listen to it?
You guys watched all these quotes?
Oh, wait, did you? Oh, wait, my fault.
Do not wish health and wealth. Well, we would say not good luck, but blessings. Because guess what was true of the people on the Titanic? Most people. Unless you were in the, what do you call the bottom part?
Third class.
The lower, the third class or whatever. You know, you might not be rich, but a lot of people on the Titanic were very rich and healthy, right? But most of them didn't make it.
Success.
Churchill did a lot of speaking and writing, so someone found all of these quotes to pull.
It is the courage to continue that counts.
You agree with that one?
Wait,
Hello?
Wait, pause it.
Success is not final. What's he saying there?
You could fail after you succeed.
Right. So you have success. Oh, does that mean you just don't have to work anymore? It's just going to be forever? No. And failure isn't fatal. Failure shouldn't kill your drive. Failure shouldn't kill your enthusiasm or your optimism or your initiative. What really counts isn't whether you're successful today or fail today. What counts is, do you have the courage to keep going? There is another saying that kind of goes along with this, that some people literally can't stand, when I say can't stand, not that they don't like it, they can't deal with success. Like, most people can't have more trouble not being able to deal with failure, but there are some people that can't deal with success. Crazy.
If we open a quarrel between past and present, we shall find that we have lost the future. People are great at keeping secrets they don't know.
What?
That doesn't make sense either.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
That's just
Does it-
How does it make sense, Jamin?
It's kind of just an elaborate way to say, you know, if you don't know, you don't know.
Ignorance?
Yeah.
No, he's trying, it's something very similar, but he's trying to make it sound like very.
Success is stumbling from failure to failure, but no loss of enthusiasm.
I don't know.
That's
What do you mean you don't know?
This dude's bugging.
Who's one of the most famous inventors of history that you learned about a long time ago, and you learned that he failed, kept that enthusiasm, kept trying, kept experimenting, failed, failed, failed. In fact, legendarily, he's failed 1,000 times or 999 times. And on that 1,000 attempts, he invented the incandescent light bulb. And Thomas Edison, now known as one of the greatest inventors. And he didn't have success the first time, second time, 144th time, 863rd time. But he never lost his what? His enthusiasm or his drive or his motivation to reach the goal he was trying to reach. I mean, that's very uncommon, right? He's like one in not a million. Thomas Edison would be like one in what? A billion people? If there's 8 billion people on Earth, maybe 8 people would have that kind of drive to fail that many times and continue to go on. But again, Churchill, that leadership. So it wasn't just that speech. This is the kind of like all of these quotes that deal with, motivating. So this goes beyond just that speech he gave during the Battle of Britain. This is kind of like what his life was about. And if you look at his life, Abraham Lincoln's another example you've probably heard of. Tried to run for office, got beat, lost, and then he won. Then he becomes known as one of the greatest presidents in American history, which makes him, if you're one of the greatest presidents in American history, you're like one of the top leaders in all of history, right? So Churchill, he ascends not quite to that height, but because he had that uncompromising attitude that he didn't have to fake. That's the other thing. If you're a leader, people will be able to tell if you're being fake or not, if it's genuine. And it was obviously genuine because his life is full of these kind of, in all of his writings and speeches, this is the kind of stuff he
Tact
did.
is the ability to tell someone to go to.
Now, I asked Mr. Chaffins, should I play that one? Because I usually say HE double hockey sticks. Of course, Mr. Chaffins says, oh, come on, they're in high school. They can handle the H word. But I do, in a way, kind of think this one's kind of a cool quote. Do you understand it?
What is tact?
Okay, tact is being able to speak someone, even if you disagree with them, in a polite, diplomatic way. You're not being crude or rude to them. So tact is having the ability to communicate with people, even if you're in disagreement, in a nice, amiable, polite way. So what he's saying there is you could say something so mean, but if you say it with the right tone and the right way, you can almost get someone to say, oh, really? That sounds great. Because you have such tact.
Tactical.
Class, you have tact, you have class,
Shut your mouth.
yeah, that's not tact.
You're a gentleman.
Held in such a way that they look forward to the trip.
It was nice.
Kites rise highest against the wind, not with it.
One's all right.
What do you mean it's all right? How many have never flown a kite? When you go to launch the kite, do you check which way the wind's blowing and start running with the wind? No. You run against the wind. Why? Because that's what's going to cause the lift to make the kite go up, right? You start running with the wind, it's just going to drag along the ground. So what's the point here, though? What's the point to that quote?
Troubles and
People rise in adversity.
Right. Listen, if you're running, it's better to be with the wind, right? You're gonna go faster if you're running with the wind than against the wind. The wind would be an adversity then, but a kite rises highest against the wind. The lesson there is if you want to reach your height, if you want to reach your full potential, it can't be easy. You've got to keep raising the bar. You got to keep challenging yourself or you'll never reach your full potential. I mean, I think in sports all the time, but I just looked at Jamin. Jamin, I'm sure the courses he's racing on are a little more difficult than when he was 6. Am I right?
Mhm.
I mean, what good would it do him to become a better rider, racer on his bike if he was still doing the courses when he was 6? It would not get any better.
I don't know. Wait.
What good would it do your basketball team to play like only Latonia or East Palestine? How would you even know if you were any good? So you play a better team, you lose. Okay. Okay. You got better though, because of the adversity, right?
The greatest lesson in life is to know that even fools are right sometimes. Continuous effort, not strength or intelligence, is the key to unlocking our potential.
Do you have to be the smartest to be successful? Do you have to be the strongest?
No.
Not.
Listen, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. You don't have to be the most intelligent or strongest. You have to be the hardest working.
One ought never to turn one's back on a threatened danger.
This one, to me, actually speaks right to the World War II situation. It's almost like he's talking to, who was the prime minister before him?
Chamberlain.
John, you guys are good. Neville Chamberlain. It's almost like he's talking to him here. Read this quote.
To run away from it. If you do that, you will double the danger. But if you meet it promptly and without flinching, you will reduce the danger by half.
Does that make sense? Can you apply that like to your daily life? Like, oh man, there's something I really don't want to do. I really don't want to face it. I'll keep avoiding it. What happens? What usually happens? It gets worse. It gets worse, right? So Hitler's doing this. Man, we really don't want to face this. We do not want to go to war. No way. We'll do anything. Please, Mr. Hitler, don't take any more land. Please tell us you won't do it anymore. And you keep living in denial and turning your back to the danger and pretending it's not really there. And then boom, you got World War II. Or February 2022. No, he's not really going to do that. No, Mr. Putin, you're really not going to go and think you're just going to take this pretty large country with 40 million people in it. You're not, no, he's not going to. So we really didn't do anything tactically before yesterday. And now what might we be faced with?
If you're going through hell, keep going.
Pretty simple. What's the point?
Don't.
Don't stop when
No, yeah.
obstacles get in the way.
Yeah, listen. Have you ever been in this place? Or can you imagine someone being in this place, right? Life gets really difficult. I'm just gonna throw myself on the floor and cry. Right? So, hey, how's it gonna change? How's it gonna change? How are the really tough times gonna change if you just quit?
They're not.
I'm just gonna throw myself on the floor and cry, and guess what? Your circumstance will never change, and you'll be stuck right there in 18 double hockey sticks.
Do you want your last word in an argument? Tell your opponent, perhaps you are right.
That one's a little.
Wait, that's what? You don't like that one? You too prideful?
We live in an era of big events and small people.
Ooh. Don't
A
understand.
pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty.
Mhm. There's a wise one.
Oh, yeah.
Negative Nanny says, we can't do that. It's gonna be too hard. There's great like the rewards of you doing that, taking on that challenge are like really high, right? Yeah, but we might not make it, so we shouldn't try. Compared to, hey, this is gonna be really difficult, but guess what? If we actually do it, what an opportunity we have here. I always think sports, right? Like, hey, we're playing, I don't know, what's the team got? using these guys as thought, we're playing Camel or East Liverpool. We had this discussion actually, because Heartland is like the king of Columbiana County, at least northern Columbiana County. But this year, East Liverpool was down at the river. They're like supposedly the best team in the county. Well, we don't know. We've beaten all the teams around here, but we don't play East Liverpool. I've heard our kids say, "Oh, we've never beat them." What? Why? You know who almost beat them last night? They escaped on a buzzer beater. East Liverpool.
I know who they are.
Carrollton. I seen Carrollton play. Salem beat Carrollton. And East Liverpool, the guy made a runner as like with 2 seconds left.
Were they down?
Yeah, they're down one. They won 57-56, I think. But here's the point. You got half the guys on the team at least would be like, "Oh no, I don't even want to play them." What? What an opportunity, right? Or let's be academic. I don't want to take that class. Now, Jake don't like that. They don't like that comparison too much. I don't want to take that class. It's going to be too difficult. It might mean that if I take that class and I end up taking on that challenge and doing well, I get like maybe an extra $10,000 a year at college. But no, I'm not even going to take the chance because it's too difficult. I'll take the easy class.
Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen.
Some people aren't courageous enough to stand up and speak because it might not be a popular opinion. I hope you're not going to be like that. I'm certainly not. But then it also takes courage sometimes to just walk away, right? Or to just listen to the other side.
To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often.
Get it? Can't be static.
This is
You
no
gotta keep
time
going.
for ease and comfort. It is time to dare and endure. You can never tell whether bad luck may not, after all, turn out to be good luck.
Or what God
I am
intended for
fond of
bad, or
pigs.
what man intended for bad.
Dogs
God,
look up to
that's
us.
good.
Cats look down on us.
Okay, this one.
Pigs treat us as equals.
What?
Such a
Nice,
huge.
right.
Now, I totally get the dog and cat thing. Okay, I don't have pets, but I've had pets when I was a kid, and I got family that has pets. I go into the house, there's the dog, tail wagging, looking at you. You know, it's like that dog realizes that here's you and here's him, and he's just so happy to see you. And then there's those cats. They sit there and stare at you, like they're, you know what I'm saying? No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You got the dog that looks up to you like you're the greatest thing ever, and then you got that cat that just sits there and stares at you.
Well, like, what about other things?
I don't know about the pigs.
I mean, I've never owned a pet. You're lying. You're lying.
Courage is obviously the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees all.
You gotta get going.
We are masters of the unsaid words, but slaves of those whom we let slip out.
There's a
I
wise.
can't even think about it.
From the book of James.
I never worry
Control your
about
tongue.
action, but only inaction.
Ah,
That one's not.
Those two quotes are kind
Why
of
do you
like the
pause
exact
for ones that are
opposite of
easy?
each other.
what's that? About-
The last two quotes
Yeah.
are like kind of contradicting.
Like, yeah, like sometimes better just to be quiet, to bite
Yeah,
your
but then
tongue.
he's worrying about inaction.
You should worry about an action.
Well, what he's saying, I guess, is, right? So in the times he's living,
Mister.
Isaac, in the times he's living, he'd be more worried about like not doing anything, the consequences of that, than hey, I don't know what's gonna happen if I take this action, but we gotta do something. Right?
The power of man has grown in every sphere, except over himself.
That's pretty deep. We have learned to control just about everything in the world, right? We've actually learned that we can seed the sky and make it rain. Did you know that?
What?
You didn't know that? There's experiments just last year that were happening. We can seed the sky and make it rain. Thankfully, they haven't used it in a powerful way yet. But we've learned to master everything around us except
Wait, how do they do it?
It's like,
our own self-control. What's that?
How do they
like
do it?
almost like
I don't know, the science behind it.
like what goes higher.
How do you do it for like crops?
You know who's involved in it?
Who's like the most dominant figure?
Someone you've heard of is involved in the vaccine stuff, involved in seeding the sky to make it rain. At one point, he was the richest man in the world. Bill Gates.
The inherent vice of capitalism is the unequal sharing of blessings. The inherent virtue of socialism is the equal sharing of miseries.
Do you think he's a capitalist or a socialist based on that quote? Obvious, right? He's like, hey, capitalism isn't perfect, right? Nothing's perfect. No system on this earth and this fallen world is going to be perfect, right? But capitalism says, hey, there's going to be wealth created and it's not going to be equals. There's going to be winners and losers. Some people are going to have more than other people. There's going to be haves and have-nots. The alternative to that people want to push is socialism. What does socialism do? It guarantees that there's not going to be winners and losers. It guarantees that we're all going to just share in the same misery. And we don't have the opportunity to become a have or make our place in life better. And that's okay, Riley, because misery loves company, right? No, it's not.
You have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life.
Right? Nobody really wants to have enemies. But think about it, in a world of 8 billion people with so many diverse ideas, if you've never stood for something, you probably won't have enemies, but if you never, if you do stand, there's going to be people that don't like you. And by the way, us as Christians, it really should hit home. Guess what? There are going to be people that hate you just because you're Christian. Can you deal with that? Are you going to sit down and shut up in the public arena because you know that speaking biblical truth, people aren't going to like you?
No.
You better learn to deal with it, like now.
Power is a drug. Whoever has tried it at least once is poisoned by it forever.
Because power corrupts, and we are imprisoned by our own desires, slaves to sin, and one of those desires is just having power. Okay, we gotta get something done today.
That was a good
As far as notes. Germany, at the end of the video yesterday, at the Battle of Britain, you might remember that the guy that made the video, after he showed how Germany wasn't successful in Britain, there was an arrow, Isaac, where he said they're going to turn their attention to the east, Russia. So that's where we're headed. Germany is going to try to take on the big bear,
I don't know how to
Russia. The operation code name is Barbarossa.
Yours I have. This is gotta be bad because I used it all day.
Barbarossa from, I think it was the 12th, gentlemen, the 1200s in medieval Germany during the time of the Holy Roman Empire. There was an emperor named Barbarossa, so Hitler used that name as the code name for this operation, where, again, Hitler, he's got all these fancy ideas that he's gonna go to this place today. And actually, he was encouraged, because when the war started, he's like, whoa, huh, that one actually went way better than I thought. What was it, Denmark in 2 hours, right? Holland in 2 days. So you can almost not blame him for thinking that these things are gonna go quick. He thought Britain was gonna go quick, but it didn't. And now he's gonna turn his eyes on Russia. And Jamin might be thinking, wait a minute. I go back a couple pages in my notes, and Germany and Russia were on the same side. They made that pact, the Munich Soviet Pact. Remember that? And they said, we're gonna be allies in this. You take Eastern Poland, I'll take Western Poland. But then Mackenzie says, wait, I go all the way back to the beginning of my notes, and on the first page or second page, it says, Hitler hated Jews and commies. Stalin, Russia, Soviet Russia are communists. So while he made a deal with Stalin at the beginning to share in this invasion of Poland, in the back of his mind, he was always planning at the right time. He had hoped he had taken Britain by this time, because he knew Russia was going to be a little more of a challenge. But eventually he's going to go and defeat Russia too, right? And little would they know, I mean, they got this agreement before the war. So he's going to hopefully catch them off guard. And things go well at the beginning. It starts in June of 1941. He is so ready. He's got 3 million of his own troops. He has taken control of almost all of Europe. So he's got this area today we call Finland. So they're going to send troops in the north. He's got control of this area today called Romania. They're going to send some troops from the south. He's going to send his own troops from, where would he be launching this attack from? Poland, right? Because he's already got that. So he's going to launch his troops south, central, north. He's going to try to take over Leningrad, Moscow, Stalingrad, which is not on there. He's going to try to take over every part of Russia at the same time. The battlefront goes from the Black Sea, by the way. Here is Crimea, that's Ukraine. It sticks out there. So Ukraine goes up here right off the shore of the Black Sea. He's going to take this from the Black Sea all the way up to the Arctic Ocean. That's how long the battlefront's going to be as he takes on Russia. Trying to take care of 3 major cities. What are they? Leningrad, named after the leader of the Bolshevik Revolution, Lenin. Stalingrad, named after the guy that's the leader now, Joseph Stalin. And then I hope by now you would know the capital of Russia is Moscow. So he's attacking all 3 at the same time. He's got 3 million troops, 3,000 tanks. Didn't he just lose almost 2,000 airplanes in Britain? Dude still got 2,500 aircraft ready to go. You're talking through that was ready for war. I mean, we're talking 80 years ago, and he had at least 5,000, more than 5,000 planes ready for combat before this started. This becomes the largest invasion in history. Winston Churchill, never forget. Very wise, great leader.
Something funny. Stick.
The sergeant says just like Churchill.
Yeah. He sounds like a guy who is smart and says stuff that sounds smart, but aren't smart.
Good old there.
Okay, wait, hold on.